After breaking up with someone they truly loved, the avoidant doesn't just lose their person, they lose their capacity for deep emotion altogether. The breakup triggers a psychological shutdown so complete that they become strangers to their own emotional landscape. What started as a defense mechanism to protect them from the pain of loss becomes a permanent state of emotional anesthesia. The avoidant who once felt the intensity of love, even if they couldn't express it properly, now feels nothing at all. They go through their days like emotional zombies, going through the motions of living while feeling fundamentally disconnected from their own experience. Food loses its taste, music loses its meaning, and activities they once enjoyed feel hollow and pointless. This isn't temporary sadness or grief that will eventually heal. It's a fundamental rewiring of their emotional circuitry. The avoidant's nervous system, overwhelmed by the magnitude of their loss and their inability to process it healthily, simply shuts down all emotional input to protect them from further damage. They trade the possibility of pain for the guarantee of numbness, not realizing they're also trading away their capacity for joy, excitement, and genuine connection. They exist in a grey world where nothing matters enough to hurt them, but nothing matters enough to fulfill them either. The avoidant discovers that emotional numbness isn't peace. It's a living death that makes them question whether they're even fully alive anymore. They become incapable of forming real connections with anyone new. The avoidant tries to date again, convinced that replacing their lost love with someone new will restore their emotional functionality. But they discover something terrifying. They can't connect with anyone on a meaningful level anymore. Every new person feels like a cardboard cutout. Every conversation feels scripted. Every attempt at intimacy feels like they're acting in a play they don't understand. The neural pathways that once allowed them to bond, to care, to invest emotionally in another person have been severed by their self-protective shutdown. They go through the motions of relationships, texting, dating, even physical intimacy, but they feel like they're watching someone else live their life. They're present in body but absent in spirit, participating in romance while feeling nothing resembling love. New partners sense this emptiness and often comment that the avoidant seems disconnected or unavailable, not realizing they're trying to love someone who has lost the ability to love back. The avoidant wants to feel something, desperately tries to manufacture genuine emotion, but discovers that feelings can't be forced or faked into existence. They become serial daters who never go deep, collecting casual relationships that provide temporary distraction but no real fulfillment. Each failed connection reinforces their growing belief that they're fundamentally broken, that they used up their lifetime supply of genuine feeling on one person and have nothing left to give anyone else. They develop a chronic sense of emptiness that nothing can fill. The avoidant discovers that the hole left by their lost love isn't just about missing one specific person. It's about losing their connection to life itself. They try everything to fill the void. Work achievements, new hobbies, travel, therapy, casual relationships, even extreme experiences designed to shock their system back to feeling. Nothing works. The emptiness isn't dramatic or acute. It's a persistent, low-level sense of meaninglessness that colors every aspect of their existence. They function perfectly well on the surface, maintaining their career, their friendships, their daily routines, but underneath they feel like they're sleepwalking through life. This emptiness is particularly cruel because it's invisible to everyone around them. The avoidant appears to be doing fine, moving on, maybe even thriving, but inside they feel like they're slowly disappearing, becoming less real with each passing day. They long for the intensity of their lost relationship, even the pain and conflict, because at least then they felt alive. The avoidant realizes they've traded their emotional aliveness for emotional safety, and the price was everything that made life worth living. They exist in a state of comfortable numbness that feels worse than any heartbreak they were trying to avoid. They lose the ability to trust their own feelings. Having shut down their emotional system so completely, the avoidant loses the ability to distinguish between genuine feelings and defensive reactions. They no longer trust their own emotional compass because they can no longer locate it. When they do experience fleeting moments of feeling, a spark of attraction, a flutter of excitement, a pang of sadness, They immediately question whether it's real or just their imagination. This emotional confusion extends to their decision-making abilities. The avoidant who once relied on their intuition, even if they didn't trust it completely, now second-guesses every choice because they can't access the emotional information that once guided them. They become purely rational beings who analyze everything intellectually while feeling nothing viscerally. They start wondering if they ever really loved their ex-partner or if they've romanticized the relationship in hindsight. They question whether their current numbness is growth and healing or pathological detachment. They lose the ability to distinguish between healthy emotional boundaries and complete emotional shutdown. They realize they destroyed their capacity for love itself. The most devastating realization comes when the avoidant understands that they didn't just lose one relationship, they lost their ability to love at all. The defensive mechanisms they used to protect themselves from their ex-partner have become permanent features of their personality. They can't turn their emotions back on because they've forgotten where the switch is located. They understand with horrifying clarity that their ex-partner wasn't just someone they loved, they were the catalyst that allowed them to access their capacity for deep feeling. Without that specific dynamic, that particular chemistry, that unique emotional safety, the avoidant can't find their way back to their own heart. The cruelest irony is that the avoidant finally feels safe from emotional pain, but they've achieved this safety by becoming emotionally dead. They got exactly what they thought they wanted, a life free from the vulnerability and intensity of deep love, and discovered it's not a life worth living at all.